says occasionally he'd go back. And remember, he was Saul's armor bearer. Yeah? So wherever Saul went, David went. Yeah? So we know that much. Verse 17.
And Jesse said unto David his son, Take now to thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge.
Okay, so just pause there. We're going to jump a bit. So he's taking food for them. Yeah, we understand that. Let's jump to verse 20.
And David rose up early in the morning, and left the sheep with the keeper, and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, Have you seen this man that is come up? Surely supply Israel to come up, and it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel.
Would you want to be the daughter? These were different times, wasn't it? By the way, Susan, this guy won. This guy beat the champion. So, okay, verse 26.
And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach of Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God? And the people answered him after this manner, saying, So shall it be done to the man that killeth him.
And Eliab his eldest brother heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, Why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. And David said, What have I done now? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him to one another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again with the former words.
Okay, so just pause again. So we see now in verse 33, so I'll come back to you in a second so you can carry on reading. And Saul said to David, You are not able to go. So Saul didn't have any confidence that David, even though David had been introduced to him as a man of valor, he had no confidence in David, for you are a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. Carry on, please. Verse 34.
And David said unto Saul, Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came out a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him and slew him. Thy servants slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God.
Just pause. Why? One advantage of being in a group like this is I don't have to be the only one speaking. Where does this confidence come from?
Past experience, past deliverance.
His faith in God.
Because there's no doubt there's no doubt in his speech, is there? There's nothing. For him, he's so sure.
I just say he just fought a bear and a lion. So I mean, straight away. I mean, I can't fight a lion. I can't find it. So even though he was not tested in war, he was tested in fighting the peoples.
Yeah, but you notice what he's also saying. That not just that I defeated these lions, but the God of Israel is the one who's given me these victories. And he's the one who will give me this victory against this giant. Okay, so verse 37, I think.
David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. And Saul armed David with his armor, and put a helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor. And he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him. And he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip, and his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about, he saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog, that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods.
Oh, so God versus gods. Keep that in mind. Carry on.
Yeah. And the Philistine said to David, Come unto me, and I will give thy flesh unto fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied.
Read that again, verse 45.
Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied.
Read on, verse 46. Are we getting this, the key to the battle? Yeah? It's not even stones. Okay, verse 46.
This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, and that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel.
Oh, this is mission, this is evangelism, isn't it? Yeah? Bear in mind, he's not just saying that I will defeat Goliath, but he's saying the armies of the Philistines will be defeated, and their carcasses will be given to the fowls of the air. That's what we read, isn't it? Yeah? And then he goes further. Read it for us, Abby.
And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with the sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
Amen. Amen. That's almost another sermon, but I'll read it. Okay, verse 48.
And it came to pass, when the Philistines arose, and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine, and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran, and stood upon the Philistine, took his sword, drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. When the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled.
Okay, so we can stop there. First of all, we have faith versus fear. Yeah? Who has faith in this account? David has, but who has fear?
Everyone, the Israelites.
The Israelites, from Saul, from the king, all the way down. And if we remember with the history that I gave you, and particularly why Saul came to the throne, one of their things was they would have confidence in a king. Yeah? And the king would be able to help them to defeat the other armies of the other nations, particularly the Philistines. It wasn't going according to plan.